Welcome to the Builders Podcast, episode 103, Agency Update, Unified Toolkit, and the Insurance Agency Websites Initiative. We have begun. Before we jump into this episode, please subscribe to this podcast, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube, and after a listen, please give us a thumbs up, like, and share, if we've earned it. With your help, we can reach more people and deliver these valuable From the Trenches lessons to those that need it. Enjoy the episode. What are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about stuff from the trenches. I thought I would give a little bit of an update on, I don't know about unified web design too much, just kind of, hey, 2023 is here. How are we doing? And then I want to talk a little bit about two initiatives this year we have. We did a lot of building last year to get things in place, and now we're starting to execute. And so I'll just talk about kind of where we're at with those things, and hopefully you'll find it interesting. So first of all, with unified web design, where are we at with that? And the answer is, we're doing awesome. And I'm not just saying that. We are doing awesome. We had a great year last year. Of course, you always could say we could do better, right? It's like we were just talking to somebody about a website today. Are we ready to launch? I said, well, there's always things you could do before we launch. You could keep adding things to the list, trying to make it perfect, rehashing this, reiterating on things, or iterating. At some point, you got to say, let's go. But I digress. But we're doing awesome. We are doing awesome. I actually hired two new people started this month. I don't know, I can't talk, but they started this month. And one's a developer full-time. And the other one is helping with marketing, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, what she's doing specifically for me. So that has grown my team to the big number of 7 full-time people helping us out in various capacities and in various ways. So yeah, I don't have a number in my head, like how big the team you're going to get, I always talk about building a boutique agency. We're going to serve a smaller number of clients. So I don't know what that means in the long run, but because it depends on, like, one client could be really big and require a team of 20 people or 100 people. I don't know. But hopefully we can keep the teams relatively small. I do know that I am at a point where, there's only so many direct reports you can have, though, right? In a company. Direct report is somebody that directly reports to you. And under that person, there could be other people reporting to them, but they are reporting to you to do whatever it is you do, to manage what they're doing, to strategize and talk about what they're doing. So, and I'm at that point, I'm kind of reaching that point, right, with 6, 7. I don't know. I heard somebody once say that the maximum number of reports you should have is like 8, but I'm sure it's up in that range somewhere. When you get to 10, 12, that's a little too many. So what I am actually trying to do is I'm hiring people that are, where I have maybe some help managing them, right? Maybe it's a partial report. So the person I'm going to be talking about today that we added to the team, one of them, it's that way. They are working with another person on the team to do stuff, and that person is kind of helping train them and get them going and all that stuff. And but I'm still interacting with that person. It's just somebody else is helping me with that. So I think that's a good strategy, so you don't burn yourself out as the person being reported to. So anyway, so that's where we're at. We have a growing team, and it's great. Some of those are developers. There's a designer in there. There's a couple of VAs in there. There's a project manager in there. And we're doing great. And certainly there's other people. There's always the next person you could hire to improve or to improve something in the company or to do more. But at the same time, I'm kind of in this space now. It's like, okay, I hired a couple people. Let's make sure this is all going to be good. We'll give it a month, 2 months, 3 months, see if everything's going good. We have a lot of great projects going on and some new relationships and partnerships. We'll see how those pan out in the next few months. And then we'll decide if we hire more this year. But I'm not really worried about hiring that much. I think I'm really happy where we're at. Everything seems stable. So I would actually be happy saying no to stuff for a while and just doing what we're doing. But yeah, it's fluid though, because you always got to be ready to add somebody if you need to, and so, or if somebody would leave eventually. But that's where we're at with that. We're doing great. And like I said, we're doing great. We have great projects going. We've got some great partnerships, some long-term and some newer ones. We had a great year last year where we added a couple new partners and clients. And so we're just doing dynamic. Not much else to say about that. Growth is hard. Growth is challenging in an agency. And so you're always trying to figure out what the next step is, what you're focused on next. And for me right now, it's like, okay, we are scaling up a little bit, but let's now focus on making sure everything's taken care of. We've done a lot of work in the last 6 months in our processes and our project management side of things, which has been great. I think I've talked about that probably on one of the videos that I've done on YouTube, but we've really streamline things and trim things down. And I think things are in a really solid state. So we're ready for that next kind of growth spurt. So, there's only so many things you can do. You have tools that you can invest in and people, and hopefully we're doing good. And I don't want to grow too fast. I talk about that a lot. Some people would like to tell you that you should grow fast, or you should be doing this so you grow faster. I don't know. I'm good with the pace I'm at. So that's Unified Web Design. I could talk a lot more about that, but I want to get into these other things because these other initiatives that we have, because this is something that I've been working towards for quite a while. One of them, Unified Toolkit. If you've been listening to this podcast for the last couple of years, you've certainly heard about it. Something that it took me a couple of years to really get to a place where we're ready to really promote it and get it out to the masses. And the other one is something I only started talking about the last maybe 6 months or so. It was probably last spring, sometime earlier last year. Somebody I met with, we were talking and this idea came up to go after a certain vertical market. And we're ready. So let's talk about that one first. So I believe, so I'm launching the website this weekend. The website's built. So going into 2023, my goal and my communication to my team was we are going to be done building come January. Starting the new year, we're done building. Now it's time for marketing and sales. Traffic, advertising, all that fun stuff. We're there. I'm launching, but I hadn't launched the domain yet. I'm doing that, or, the website on the domain yet. I'm doing that hopefully this weekend. That is the goal. That's Matt's goal. And I think it's going to be called Lead Magnet. Now, if I go, I'm going to verify something here as I'm on the call, talking to you. This isn't really a call. If I go to namecheap.com, that's where I get all my domains. All my domains live here. And I go in here and I log in. I will see all my domains. Oh, it's going to make me verify. That's awesome. We'll do that live too. Okay, we're going to verify. We'll go in here because they have to do that because they want to make sure I'm legit. What are we verifying? Oh, we got a code. We're going to plug that in there. We'll do that. Okay. So lead magnet. It's lead magnet or lead magnets. That's why I have to look it up. Should I be honest with you? Yes. So lead Well, Leads Magnet. I couldn't believe I got that domain, but Leads Magnet, but it's not .com. It's leadsmagnet.io. So leadsmagnet.io is the domain I kind of set up to go after the insurance vertical, starting with insurance agencies. That could scale up. That could do a lot of different. We could do a lot more with that. We're going to build websites for them in 2023. So leadsmagnet.io, launching that. And the reason why, let me give you a little insight into leadsmagnet.io. So we're selling basically, well, we're talking about Unified Toolkit in a little while, but it's basically that same framework just for insurance agencies. But to market it, I wanted to set that apart. I could have put it on unifiedwebdesign.com and you bury it somewhere in there or on its own page going after insurance agencies. There's a number of ways I could have done that, right? But we felt that having its own domain is going to be a little bit better for us to go after that market. It's designed, it's going to be, when somebody lands there, they're going to know it's for insurance. Now, why Leads Magnet, though? Could have been insurance websites magnet or something like that with insurance in there. Number one, insurance is one of those terms, those keywords, it's going to be really difficult to find a domain for. Okay. It's not that I don't try sometimes, but it's one of those very competitive areas that is going to be difficult to get a domain for, especially a .com, right? The other part of this, though, is that I don't want to sell somebody a website. I don't want to sell people what we do. I don't want to sell people, oh, we're going to build you, we're selling you WordPress themes or WordPress custom. Well, it's going to be custom, right? We do custom work. We're using a framework for that custom work, but it's custom work, the toolkit. So now one of the reasons I'm going after this particular vertical and niche is because I used to be an insurance agent in a past life, many decades ago. Actually, probably the mid 1990s through the mid 2000s. I was a little later than that. I had an insurance license. I was an insurance agent, and there was a number of different iterations of that. Worked with a partner in an agency for like 3 years. Then I kind of left there, did something else for a little while, then started my own little agency, the Levenhagen Insurance Agency, LLC, and started my own little agency and did that for a couple of years, selling a variety of things. And I had some partners that I would sell insurance through their agencies. And it was a whole thing. So I know a little bit about insurance. And I also know what insurance agents need. They need leads. And I mean, that's their bread and butter. They need leads. They need, like when I was doing insurance way back when, now things have changed a bit since I did it back then. It was starting to change back then, but now everything, a lot of leads are probably provided on websites and stuff like that. Back then I would get a packet of leads sent to me every week, and I would work those leads, and they would come from a variety of sources. But so it was more getting leads on paper and making phone calls, hundreds and hundreds of phone calls every month, setting up appointments and, networking and all that good stuff you do in an agency. But leads were super important. So as I was thinking about this, I'm like, well, that's going to resonate. Leads resonate with insurance agents because that's how they make their money. Well, what is a website really? A website should be a leads magnet. And I wonder if, obviously I was in Namecheap, looking for my domains, trying different things. I'm like, probably lead magnet, leads magnet. Well, it's not a .com, .io works, because we're in tech, sure. So leads magnet. So that's what it's going to be. So that's how I'm going to market it, is we're going to build a website that's going to generate leads for your business. It's going to make you money. And if your website's not generating leads, we'll show you how to do that. Now, we may extend the services. We have other ideas around this. It may not just stop at building them a website, but we'll let you know that as we do it. So that's it. But as I was saying earlier, I haven't launched it yet. So there is a chance it could turn into a different domain name. So it may not be leadsmagnet.io by the time I do that this weekend. Actually, I think the other day, let me check real quick. The other day I was in, see, on December 31st. So if you're like me, now I've been doing this for a long time, a couple decades, 20 years on the web, doing all kinds of stuff and buying domains, okay? There are many domains, dozens, hundreds of domains probably that I've bought and never used. I'll come up with an idea and I'll just, they're cheap. Less than $10, you get it for a year. And if you don't use it, you let it expire, right? Well, on the 31st, right before the turn of the year, I got customsitepro.com. So it could be that too. At least it's a .com. We'll see. But regardless of how that ends up, we're launching the website. It's a really beautiful site that my designer helped design, and also helped build the website using our framework. And so it's all blocks. That's going to be launched. And then come next week, we're going to start getting people's attention and sending them to that link. How are we going to do that? Well, on the insurance on this, we're starting out in a tried and true method of getting people's attention through email. So I hired somebody to help me with this. Now, I didn't hire him for just this, but this is where we're starting him. We've done this before, and we've had success with it. And it's a great way to just kind of get your feet wet and start getting some leads. So I hired someone, her name's Cherie. And Cherie, hi Cherie, if you're listening to this or watching this, is going to work with my VA that helps me with marketing and content and all kinds of stuff, even this podcast. They're going to work together. So that person's name is Jep. Jep and Cherie are going to work together. Well, Cherie's going to do this part of things because Jep is plenty busy. But she's going to help. She's already started the research. So we use a couple websites. I'm going to probably talk about that in a future episode. I'm going to be experimenting a lot with that this year. There's websites that help you do research on companies and getting their contact details. But we have a very specific way that we actually email them and follow up with them. And we have a whole process. And we're going to be implementing that here. Again, maybe it's something that I may talk about more. I may have talked about it on some past episode. I have to go back to the archives. But so that the goal there is to just start sending out these emails and getting some responses. What did I call it the other day? Her prime directive is to basically get people in front of Matt. That's the goal. It's a very, very simple goal. Because I'll do the closing. I'll talk to the agents. We'll talk about their websites. We'll talk about their needs. We'll talk about how they're going to get leads, what their situation is now, what their pain points are. We'll go through all that. Matt will do that. I do the closing. All Cherie needs to do is get people in front of me. And she's going to do that starting with direct email. And we'll scale that up or do whatever. We'll tweak that. We'll test things. We'll get that in a good place. So we'll see month by month. We'll measure that, how we're doing, tweak that. And that's the first way we're going to go out there and try to get some business and build some block themes for some agencies. I actually have a friend, too, that owns an agency here in Milwaukee. We talked a month or two ago. I need to connect with them, and we may be taking over his website and helping him there as well. So there's things going there. So we're starting that initiative. I'm very excited about it. The goal this year isn't big. It's just getting some under our belt, right? I do have an agency partner that's going to help us in some ways. And so there's a lot of opportunity to scale that up and really become known in that space. And that's the goal. So talking back about unified web design, we do a lot of stuff. We have RSA agreements, like retainers, long-term retainers that we've had for a long time for maintenance. We do a wide range of just general web development work, hourly work. We do a whole bunch of stuff. And we do build, design and build full websites for some of our partners, or sometimes direct, but not as many as I'd like us to be doing. We're doing awesome, but I want to do more of that. So that's part of what this initiative is to focus, zero in on a specific niche, a specific vertical, a specific market, which is insurance, and become known in that space. And that's what we're doing. And what we're doing for them is the design, the build, and maybe other services down the road. But that's the goal there. So now we will be doing more of that stuff, building more block themes and websites and doing awesome stuff with that framework. So that's the goal with that initiative. We have another initiative called Unified Toolkit. And this one, again, if you've been here for a while, you've heard about this. But this past year, we finally got kind of a minimal viable product, suite of products up. Some of those are plugins. One of them is a full site editing block theme, a custom one, a framework we use. It's part of that toolkit. The toolkit is that plus the plugins and other things we're going to provide. And that's what we use to build themes for clients. And Unified Toolkit is where we sell it to the general public, namely agencies and freelancers. It's not designed. My focus is not for everybody. We're specializing in agencies and freelancers. That's who I'm speaking to. It's one of those ways where you can narrow things down a little bit and narrow your message. Even if you look at the plan, I'm not selling them individually. Although I'm giving away the theme so they can take it for a test spin and play around with it. So we do have that. That's a little list building mechanism. But some people can try it out first. But then the licenses start at, I don't even know off the top of my head, 500, I think. So it's a little higher end. Monthly or annually or quarterly, maybe. You can tell it's been a little bit since I've looked at the sales page. Whatever I set up. But we've got a few people on board already without even promoting it. But going into this year now that that's done being built, we are going to continue to add things. There's other things we're adding. We're going to have a little members area. There's going to be designs in there and training. So I'm going to be adding that stuff. Plus the plugins that we do have, they're done being built, but we're going to start adding features to those plugins or additional features. Like one of the plugins is the block plugin, so more blocks. So we'll be doing that, but now it's casual, right? It's like when we have time in between things. So that's fun, right? Yeah, hopefully. I mean, one of the reasons that it took us a while to get this out is because I'm running an agency and the agency demands a lot from us sometimes. And sometimes it's hard to predict how much work we're going to have. And so we have to delay it. Unified Toolkit was always one of those side projects we worked on in between things. And it's still kind of that. However, that will change when we start getting more and more customers. I like to talk about customers now because we're selling products. not just clients anymore. I just love selling products. I love the idea of having products, and I think it's a great addition to what we do. And it complements, obviously, because we use that framework and we can speak back and forth. That's part of the marketing, right? Is we're able to say, hey, we use this framework for our clients. Here's an example. So that's fun, right? So we're doing that, but now, so the marketing side of it, now I didn't hire somebody. I'm not, Sheree might help out with the promotion of Unified Toolkit, probably will. I think I'm probably going to have her doing more. I'm going to teach her SEO, and she can work on that side of it. So I really want to. There's a couple things that it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than what we're doing with our services. Our services, we lean heavily on social media, and networking is huge. This podcast helps, so that's its own kind of strategy. But with Unified Toolkit, it's different. I want to focus more on SEO and pay-per-click and Facebook ads. And so we're going to have a spend, and we're going to drive traffic that way to get things started anyway. We'll still do some social media and stuff, but I will be investing a little bit more into building that initial user base. That's the plan anyway. It has paid advertising. I've done a lot of it over the years. That used to be all I did back in the 2000s. So it's a competitive market. We'll see what happens. But that's the goal. We're going to throw a little money at it, see what happens. But we'll try to promote it. If that doesn't work, we'll just do something else. There's promotions we can get involved with. We can work on affiliates, the affiliate side of the business. We'll have to talk about there and how I would do that. But so now it's like, if you've been following this story from the trenches of me coming up with the idea, trying to figure out when I was going to do it, what we're going to build, and then, waiting for full site editing to even become a thing. That wasn't until a year ago, officially. So then we could build that theme. Now it's built. Now you can follow the story of once it's built. We didn't have like a big launch or anything. We don't have I don't have time for that. I don't have time for all that. I've never been really good at that. I know affiliates. I could probably put it out there. I could probably do it if I spent the time and energy doing it. But mine's more of a soft launch. It's launched. I launched it to my list. I have a list, a small list. I launched that to list. That's why we have some people in there. But I'm going to grow that list. That's part of also this year is growing the list. And that's what hopefully we'll do with pay-per-click as well. So I'll have improved my follow-ups and my email marketing too. But we're going to, so you can follow that kind of process though, as we go into this year. And I'll let you know how things are going. If pay-per-click doesn't work, I'll let you know. I'm not going to be that way. So we'll go through that, and then hopefully we can generate some, another revenue stream with Unified Toolkit. That's kind of the goal. Like, you think about the insurance, why are we doing insurance? And the big reason, I think, at the center of that, there's a couple good reasons to do what we're doing. But one of them is so we can do this specific service that we're not doing a lot of, but we got to figure out how to do it. So, okay, we want to do more design development of WordPress themes. That's going to hopefully solve that. Also, it's a little more, we can systemize that a little bit better and, become more specialized doing that. So that's great. That'll solve that problem. Unified Toolkit, what that's going to do is it will hopefully, so there's kind of this other thing, if this very subtle thing. If you go to the bottom of like unifiedtoolkit.com, you're going to see a little message at the bottom. And that message says something to the effect, you can do it yourself, or if you want to hire Unified Web Design to build these for you, Here's the link. See, it's all about strategy. It's all about, thinking things. I've had a couple of years to think about this. It's not just about selling that product. It's about getting the attention of the fact that we have products. We're skilled enough. If we're skilled enough to build those products, especially on, kind of the newest way of doing WordPress with React and all that stuff, which we have to know to build a block theme, and specifically the block plugin. We have to know all that stuff. If we can do that, we can do a lot, right? So if we can build the products and know that's, how to do that stuff, in detail, yeah, we can help you with your website. But it's also like, so it's getting that across, but it's also, hey, here's a product. This is this framework, but you don't have to do it yourself. Now, part of the training is going to kind of say that to begin with. So the training I have planned is going to be, this is how you can sell these as an agency or freelancer. But you may not want to do it yourself. So, if you can take what we're providing, this framework, and give that to your developer, or hire a developer, or build your own team that knows this framework inside and out and can build websites for clients. So whether we do it or your team does it or you do it, whatever, it's a beautiful thing. So that's it. But the other thing, of course, is the revenue aspect of it. I don't know how large that of revenue we can build with that, but I come from the world of products and memberships, going back a decade. I feel so old. Everything's a decade now. Back in the 2000s, when I had memberships and I had, I had thousands of people purchase my memberships, and memberships cost, I don't know, $60 a month, $67 per month probably, or whatever. It moved up to that at the end. But I had, thousands of people go through there. At any given time, I would have probably I averaged 200 to 300 members per month with those subscriptions. So it was a really nice revenue stream and helped support other things that we do. Well, that's kind of the idea here, because while we may sell lifetime licenses, generally speaking, most of them are that you can get monthly, or even if you can get quarterly or annually, that's reoccurring income. So if I can build even a small base of reoccurring income, that can add, kind of like my retainers on the services side, where there's this predictable income that comes in. That income on the services side is large enough where it pays for my team. It's predictable. As long as we continue to deliver and we don't, people don't leave, it'll stay that way for the foreseeable future, right? That is the base income, and everything on top of that is not necessarily cream. That's Matt's profits and future to run the business and grow and all that stuff, to reinvest that or whatever. But if I can build a product that can provide reoccurring income, even if it's, think about it, even if it's $100 a month or $100 a year, that's an extra $100 a year you can, pay for a tool or something. But it's something that with that, it's so scalable. Products are so scalable. It's not like services. Whether you have 5 people using your plugin, or 500 or 5,000 or 50,000, it's pretty much the same amount of work. I say that kind of understanding that also that's more people that can find bugs and problems. So the bigger your base expands, the more different ways your plugin's used, more situations where you may have to fix those bugs, but you can build a team around that, right? So as that money scales, of course, I'm going to build a team. So that's the idea here. So I can build, I would imagine eventually having a team that's focused on our products, but that can cross over too. That can help us invest in more resources and help the team on the other side, on the services side. So I envision my business over the next few years getting to a point where I think our agency will continue to grow. We have a good, growth percentage each year so far. If that continues to grow, great. But hopefully this product side kind of sort of, starts to balance. There's a good balance there. Then there's less pressure. I'm not about pressure. This podcast, I do solo episodes because I don't want the pressure of having to worry about always having a queue of guests. I usually line up some guests, we burn through them, and then I have a guest or a solo episode. Then I line up some more guests. That's how I do it. That works for me. Doesn't work for everybody. Some people like to bank them for, have 6 months worth of guests lined up or recorded. I don't like to do that. Maybe I'll do that someday. But right now it's like, yeah, it works for me. I'll just go out. There's no pressure. I don't like that. I don't like the pressure. I don't like stress. Even though I got all this going on, I feel like although I did start seeing a massage therapist. Actually, I got, a couple hours. I got an appointment. Yeah, I see a massage therapist. I just started like a couple months ago. 2 months ago, I think, or a month and a half ago was my first massage ever. And understand that this isn't something that I just decided to do. I never got massages before. I even dated a massage therapist for a couple of years back in the 90s. Way back in time. But I never got a massage for her. She never wanted to. It's one of those things. You come home from work, you don't feel like doing what you do at work, I guess. That's how I remember it anyway. But I just never felt like I needed it, but I had some back issues. I may have mentioned it a couple months ago. This pain in my back was horrible. And it lasted for a long time. It wasn't going away. Sometimes I get a pain and it would go away. But this one was not going away. It was actually felt like it was getting worse. I thought it was related to my neck. I had neck surgery years ago. I was really concerned about it. Thought it was going to be this big deal. Went to the doctor and I said, Doc, I have this back pain. Matt, let me see. Where is it exactly? So like I said, I was freaked out. I actually freaked my wife out a little bit because my necks I have hardware in my neck, right? I got titanium screws and plates and a cage. A little issue there. Little rupture. C6, I think. Anyway, so I was concerned there was another issue there, and surgery, that kind of surgery is always risky. And I'm like, or am I going to have to live with this pain now forever? Anyway, back to my doctor. He's looking at me. He's like, Matt, you ever seen a massage therapist? I said, no, why? I said, well, I think this might just be some muscle spasms or some, something related, not related to what you think it is. I really thought, because sometimes nerves, nerve pain, anything like, neck and stuff could, run down your arm. It was actually running. I was feeling like it in my arm and everything. But apparently it was not. So a couple weeks later, my first appointment, I got a massage. And at first it was like nothing, it didn't really help too much. And then a couple days later, I started feeling better. The pain started to subside. And I've gone back one other time. And today's, I think, the third time. It fixed the problem. I feel great. It's not perfect. I mean, I still get a little twinge here and there. But I think it was actually, whether that's stress, whatever that is. But I love massages now. So I got on that topic because I don't like, I really am conscious of trying to alleviate stress in everything I do. Yes. Okay. I have 17 members now, a growing team. And that might even be, expand a little bit if we need part-time people to work on a project or whatever. So there's always the kind of that stress of that team. There's the potential stress of all the projects, right? We got big projects, some, are easy, some are not. Things happen. There's always things happening and a lot to manage. But I feel like I do a pretty good job. Maybe the back pain was that signal my body was telling me, Matt, you need to relax a little bit. Since then, I've actually tried to take some extra time off. I'm trying to slow down a little bit, take a couple hours off a week. Over the holidays, a little extra time. I think that's been helping. But that's your body, your body's telling you, Matt, I'm in my early 50s, 51, turning 52 next month. Not getting any younger. So I have to really start listening to my body and pace myself, and like I said, that might be a signal. My body's saying, hey, Matt, this is getting a little bit, maybe you need a massage. But that was great, though, how he said that, though. I was like, Matt, have you been to a massage therapy? He just ignored what I was doing self-diagnosis. I'm like, I'm really concerned about that it's this. It's like, I don't think that's what it is. And turns out, great doctor. He was correct. Thank you, Dr. Cooper. Yeah. So, but back to the original story and what I'm doing here, that's how I kind of think about those products versus the services. Because I think if I can build a good base of income here, reoccurring income here, just like the reoccurring income over here, that all alleviates financial stress, right? It gives you a good, predictable income. When I build a business, I want predictable income somewhere in there. Right? So I was just I'm trying to do something with my bank right now. I was just talking to them and I was trying to explain, and she's asking me, Matt, how long does it take for like when you bill somebody, you get your 50% down or whatever, how long does it typically take for that balance to happen or get paid or whatever? What is the length of time you wait to get paid on things? Because that was being factored into what we were talking about. I'm like, not really much time at all. So when I invoice somebody, my partners, I get paid. If it's 5 days or 10 days, that's a long time. Usually it's with it. Some could be the same day. Seriously, it can be the same day. One in particular I have in mind. It's always the same day. Others, maybe a couple days. Now, if it's for a client, they have to wait for the funds or something, that can happen. But typically speaking, though, the invoices I do month to month, right away. But I also explained, but most of my stuff's auto pay. The retainers we have are all auto pay. They just get paid every month. A huge chunk of our revenue is auto pay, auto invoicing, auto pay through FreshBooks. We do a little plug for FreshBooks. This is not an affiliate promotion. It's just me telling you what I use. I've used FreshBooks for the 4 years I've been in business. Anyway, so it's a beautiful thing. But understand, that alleviates a ton of stress. I don't have to invoice a number of our clients every month. Now, if I can replicate that on the product side, that's a beautiful thing. That's why I did it back in the 2000s when I was doing pay-per-click advertising and affiliate marketing. I had memberships, I had products, but the memberships were key for me for a number of years because there were those couple hundred members that would show up every month and just automatically pay. That was a great base income. So it makes it a little bit easier. A lot of things, even in products, promotions and all this stuff, it's kind of like this, it's just up and down and up and down. But when you some of that starts to, be reoccurring, those little ups and downs, can be on top for sure, but you just have a much more predictable income. And that's really, really been important. So my point in all this, talking about Unified Toolkit and all, that's it. Each of these things are strategic. It's not something I'm doing just to do it, because I think I want to go build websites. There's deep thought in each one. There's deep thoughts into lead magnet or whatever it turns out to be this weekend. Leadsmagnet.io. Whatever that turns out to be, there's purpose behind it. We're going to invest a little bit and see how that does. In a year, I could decide that's not really our thing. We're something else pops and we're doing that instead. I mean, that's a thing that's been crazy with unified web design is we're getting great partners. We're doing a lot of stuff and we're growing. So there has been this thing in me. It's like, should I even do the insurance thing? Should I even do Unified Toolkit? I don't need to, but I have ambition. No, but these things are strategic though, because it, like I said, solves that problem with lead magnet, solves that problem, with Unified Toolkit, solves the problem of wanting to, build more themes, build more WordPress themes for people. Well, how do you do that? You shift you focus your marketing, and to do just that could lead to all kinds of other things. Who knows what happens when we start serving the insurance market? That could lead to a lot more things. Who knows? We could be doing all kinds of other kinds of programming. Who knows what happens, right? We'll let it, percolate for a couple of years, see what happens. But Unified Toolkit, same thing. It solves kind of. It seemed to make sense. It was an easy thing to do because we're going to use that. When I was building it, a lot of times, my list especially will know this. Like when I was building it, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't need to succeed. It doesn't need to. We don't sell any of it because we're going to use it. When somebody comes to us for a website, that's our framework. So we're making money with it. We're technically making money with the Unified Toolkit by the thousands of dollars per project because a website project is in the thousands each, and we do these, and we're doing one right now, right? This week we started a new project that's going to be building the block theme using this framework. So we're making money. We're just not making money with it as a product yet. But my thought process is, well, we already have it. Let's just, obviously you have to do a few things to sell it. Think about, creating a product from something that you would otherwise use for a one-on-one client. It's a little different. Selling to the masses is a little bit different than selling something one-off. But it's not that much of a leap to create a product out of this, and the other thing is, and I'll leave it at this, this is getting a little long here, but the other thing here is looking at who we serve. One of our verticals and who we serve are digital marketing agencies or other agencies, web design agencies, development agencies that maybe, some of them just do everything, right? They do the digital marketing and they do the, building websites and stuff. That's kind of our vertical that we defined that a while ago, a couple of years ago. So we have a base of those clients. Well, what is Unified Toolkit? Why do you think I'm focused on agencies and freelancers? Because those are the people we partner with. So if I get their attention with Unified Toolkit and we start talking, could lead to more partnerships if we have room. So I'm not going to have to cap it. I'm very close. I'm very close. But we want to keep this boutique. I don't want to, I can't do business with everybody, but no, that's kind of the thoughts. All of this, it's all strategic. Insurance lead magnet, if we start selling to insurance agencies and building their websites, I can use those. Those are direct clients. I can use those as part of our portfolio to talk to the people that get Unified Toolkit of these agencies and freelancers, say, hey, we did it in this niche. This is how we did it. This is an example. This is a case study. We can share those case studies with there's so much. And I love it because this is how this is what I did back in the 2000s. I created satellite memberships and products, but they were all complementary. They're all complementary. They all feed into each other. And so we got this little ecosystem of products and services, and even this podcast plays a role. That all work together and for our brand, all interlink, intermingle. It's a beautiful thing. That was the vision. And I'm excited to announce we have begun. That's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already and give us a thumbs up if we deserve it. If you want to comment on this episode's page, provide me with requests on topics for future episodes, or inquire about being a guest, please find your way to thebuilders.fm. You can contact me there or add a comment under these show notes. Now a word from our sponsor, my agency, Unified Web Design. We build custom websites, features, we maintain websites, we work with agencies to fulfill their web design and development needs, and more. If you're interested in our services or are looking for an agency to work with as a partner to build awesome sites for your clients, feel free to reach out to me at unifiedwebdesign.com. There's a handy contact me link at the top. Fill out that form and it will open a ticket, and that ticket will find its way to me. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.